We're doing SEMICHA and Chaf, holding Steve Tess. This is Shiur number 15. I'm going to try to do it today, 15 and 16. Okay, so before we start Steve Tess, we have to give a little bit of Akdama. We went through a little bit in SEMICHA Yud Ches, but we'll refresh our memory here. So this Steve is talking about basically ice or snow that you want to melt it. The way you're going to melt it is you're going to smash it up and make it into water. So there's a three-way machlokes. What's the isser of taking snow and smashing it and making it into water? One reason is the reason that Rashi brings down is because it looks like you're creating water. It looks like a malacha of creating or making something new. That's one shot. One of the Rishonim, that's Rashi. The second shot in the Rishonim, the Rabbi brings down, is because it looks like schita. Not a malacha of making a new thing, but schita, you're taking something, a solid, and you're making a liquid out of it. Those are the two reasons that we'll see are the main two reasons. The third reason of the Sefer Truma, that he says that it's an issa of moilid. And moilid means more like an issa of muktzah, similar to Rashi's pshat. Rashi says it looks like you're making something new, and the Sefer Truma says that when something new is happening, and the chiluk would be if it happens by itself, you didn't do it, you put it in the sun, and it happens. So right now you made something happen. You made something new from the snow. That's the Sefer Truma's isser that it's awesome.
How is that different from Rashi?
Rashi's isser is when you're taking it and you're doing it with your hands. You're making something with your hands. That's the isser. Sefer Truma is even if you don't do it with your hands. It's the isser of moilid. You're making something new happen just by putting it down there,
so it's like
putting it in the sun.
Isn't that more like active versus passive?
Right. One's active and one's passive. And another difference is, besides that one's active and one's passive, according to the Sefer Truma, the isser is the outcome. The isser is that something new happened. Moilid, something new happened. According to Rashi, the isser is that you're doing something. The difference would be that according to the Sefer Truma, that the isser is what comes out of it is the isser. And according to Rashi, we don't find any isser of what comes out of it. The isser is doing it.
So isn't that the difference between moilid and norlid?
Yeah, but Rashi it's really...
Right, so Rashi is moilid, and their Sefer Truma is norlid.
Yeah, it's basically different. Like Rashi, moilid is you're doing it,
right.
You're making something, and according to the Sefer Truma, it's something that comes out of water in itself is also.
Right.
We'll see more. We'll see more the differences between the three mahalchim. But in the Mechaber here at Sif Tess, we don't find the issa of the Sefer Truma. The Mechaber, all we find is the first two isurim of not the first two, but any of the first two of Rashi, which means you are making water with your hands, or the Rashba, it's named to schita. So let's see the Mechaber right away. And from these three things, we'll see a lot of different halachas come out of it.
Just understand before, like by way of Akdama, the Gemara that allows you to put the price it says can't crush.
Put into water.
Is that defined, or that is what the discussion is going to be?
So, everyone agrees that put into the water. The question is why, and the reason is according to Rashi and according to the Rashba.
The Gemara's case is that there's water inside the
yeah.
No, it's not mashma, but okay.
No, it's not mashma. The Gemara just said you can put it into a bowl without trepidation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but a bowl means there's water inside. There's water inside. Yeah. Gemara's mashma is water inside, and the water is going to make it melt, maybe.
Okay, it wasn't clear from the Gemara that there's liquid already.
There's liquid in. Yeah, doesn't say it anymore, but there's liquid in it. Yeah, the case of the water was with this liquid in it, and we'll see that the reason is because we don't see anything happening. You're putting it in, and right away it's getting mixed with the water. You don't see anything happening. And over there, the Rabban didn't make the gzeira.
So So even according to the Sefer Truma, who holds by Noilad,
right, even according to the Sefer Truma, correct, even according to the Sefer Truma, you put it into boiling hot water, let's say, right, and it's melting right away, it's still okay.
So we were talking about this morning saying, so what happens if you have a half a glass of water, and then you put in enough ice that you have now a full glass of water?
Doesn't make a difference.
That's not called nicker?
No, because when it's melting into it, it's not nicker.
So you're not looking...
The water was never, like we had the similar thing we had by Yechiel Matir, right? With the grapes. You put grapes into a drop of wine, and it comes out on Shabbos. It's mutter. Why? Because there's never nicker the wine by itself when it came out of the grape. Here also, when it's never nicker the water by itself, you can't see the water by itself, of there the chama de nasir.
And the fact that it doubled, and the fact that it doubles, we don't care.
Double doesn't make a difference.
And even if it's like just a few drops of water initially, because the water that melted was never nickered by
itself. Correct. Correct. Okay. We don't find anywhere in the Rishonim and the Achraim is a difference of how much. The only thing we saw was a Shinyat Ches we saw that if it's shumin, if it's oil that was covered and then melted into water, that's called nicker maybe.
Yeah.
Because that's shumin, the oil you see floating on top of the water.
Okay.
That's the only thing we saw.
Quantity is never an issue.
But quantity we never saw. How much we never saw an issue.
So basically, stop mine. That is I find a water in a bowl. Can I assume that it was never in a state of kerach that became a water?
We'll see. Maybe it's mutter even if you know it was kerach. We'll see soon about water in a bowl if it's also or not.
What about if you take a hot water and put into ice to melt it? Now you're trying to melt.
We'll get to everything. If you put hot water on ice or ice into hot water, we'll get to all that.
Okay. And then ice cubes that are not water, let's say fruit juice or something. Is that
yeah, so fruit juice is more of a kula, which we'll see. We spoke about that also. Because
when it's frozen.
What's called Zaman has a heter that if it's milk.
Yeah.
The issue over here basically is that maybe it looks like schito, you're making something new. Milk that was frozen and becomes unfrozen, it's still milk. Nothing new came. You didn't create anything
by
new.
Itself comes nothing
so fruit juice would be the same thing. If you have orange that's frozen, you put it and you let it sit out and it comes liquid. Also, because if you take the first two reasons, the first reason is because you're creating something new. What does it mean you're creating something new? You had ice and you made water. Ice and water are two different things. Frozen juice and not frozen juice is not two different things. You didn't create a new thing. The second reason of schita, right? It looks like you're being seichit because you're taking the water out of the ice. Here, you're not taking juice out of juice. It's juice the whole time. It was juice the whole time. Just was solid. Now it became a liquid juice. And even the reason of Noilid of the Sefer Truma, here it's not Noilid because you're not creating anything new.
Can you al schita, when you take water from ice, isn't that sort of like oichel mitach oichel?
No, water is a mashke.
But ice is
an oichel.
Frozen mashke.
Good. That's the difference. Ice we call an oichel.
So
ice we call an oichel.
Because
it's solid, yeah. Frozen juice or frozen milk, we don't call an oichel, it's called a mashke. It's a mashke that's frozen. That's the Shlomo Zalman's chiluk.
Even ice cream.
Don't they usually eat ice?
Ice cream is a very good question. Ice cream passes an oichel when it's frozen.
Melt ice cream.
And when you melt it, it becomes a mashke maybe. No, it's melted ice cream.
No, it
was always an oichel.
It
was always an oichel. It never became mashke. Ice was I meant to drink.
No, but you don't eat ice. You don't eat ice. I mean,
you suck on ice.
Some people. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
You don't eat it. So.
Yeah. Okay.
You don't drink it. You don't eat it.
Well, if you want to drink and you don't have a choice, just take a piece of ice and put it in your mouth.
Between ice and frozen juice.
Let's get back on.
Yeah, that's what Shlomo Zalman's chiluk. He says that the Shlomo Zalman's chiluk is ice. His chiluk is not really oichel and mashke. His chiluk is ice is called ice and mayim is called mayim. You don't have two separate names for frozen juice and not frozen juice. That's his chiluk. His chiluk is milk. When it's frozen, it's called frozen milk. Now, when it's not frozen, it's called milk. Ice is called ice, and water is called water. So you're not changing. You're not making a new thing. You're not making a new
Ice
thing.
is different. Okay, that I hear.
Yeah, he says you're not making it a new thing.
Okay.
That's what Shlomo Zalman's chiluk. And the whole yesod over here is you're making a new thing. You made a new thing. It was ice, and now you made it into water. Okay, so now let's go through the Mechaber and all the different sheets here. So Sif Test, the Mechaber says, Ashalak v'abarad, if you have snow and hail, Ein Meraskin Oisam, so you can't Meraskin to smash it. Tahainu v'shabram v'chaticha is daka is gedesha yizuv meimov. In order that the water should come out, you can't do that on Shabbos. But avanoisenu l'teich kois shal yayin, you're allowed to put it into a kois of a cup of wine, or mayim, or water, for who nimach me'elav ein lechoshish. And there, it melts by itself, and you don't have to worry about the issur of whatever the issur is over here in this case. V'chein, says the Mechaber, a chiddush. Let's leave the V'chein a second. Let's see the Magen Avraham Yud Gimel. We'll get to V'chein in a second. Noisin hu mashma de l'rasek b'yadayim osir. So the Magen Avraham is medayik, that it says you're allowed to put it into a cup. Is mashma, you're allowed to drop the ice, the pieces of ice or the snow into a cup. Mashma de l'rasek b'yadayim osir. Even when it's in the water, if you're going to be merasik it with your hands, you're going to break it up with your hands, even though it's in the water, it's still awesome. Why? Because even though when you do it, you can't see that there's water coming out of it, but it looks like you're doing a malacha. You're taking it and you're breaking it up. Ramban v'Aran v'Aramba v'Magen Mishnah Kaftu Shem B'Tosefta Tafilu l'rasek b'yadayim v'techakoyis shari. It's mutter. Why? The time is the Shema Yischait Peis Oim Dil Namashkin V'Kimish Nesar B'Mayim L'Gazru. The whole reason is because it looks like he's squeezing out fruits. If it's in the water, they didn't make the gzera. It doesn't look like he's squeezing out fruits.
In a nicker.
It's in a nicker. So here you have Machlekes Rishonim. If you're allowed to go ahead, according to the first shittas, Sefer Truma we're leaving out in the meantime. We'll get to that later. According to the first two shittas, whether you're creating something or whether looks like you're squashing something and you're making shittas peiros, according to those two isurim, the Magen Avraham brings down the Mechaber is mashma only noisin. You're allowed to put it in, but when it's in the water, to squish it up in the water is awesome in the water itself. And the Magen Avraham brings down from a lot of Rishonim that they hold it's mutter because it doesn't look like schita since you're doing it in the water. And then he finishes v'ayin sifir aleph. What does it mean by that? If you look at sifir aleph, we'll go to it right away. Sifir aleph says, "Tzorach lizar b'chayim." You have to be careful in the winter. Shlo yitel yoda b'mayim sheyesh b'hem shelek obarad. You can't wash your hands with water that has in it snow or hail. V'myitol. It's Mefersh Mechaber. This halacha that the Magen Avraham brought down in Sifir Gimel, that squeezing it with your hand in the water itself. That's right. A lot of Rishonim are matir. It's Mefersh Mechaber that's aser. But that's what it means by Ayin Sifir Aleph. If you look at the Magen Avraham on Sifir Aleph, Sifkat Tazayin the Magen Avraham, Shlayiyah Merasik, L'fi Ma Shekasafti Siftes. Shari, Ayin Sham. What I wrote in Sif Tes, which means what we just saw now, when I brought out Sif Khan Yud Gimel, it's mutter. So the Magen Avraham basically says that it's mutter to go ahead and squeeze it in the water. That's the Magen Avraham Shita. He's arguing on the Mechaber. The Mechaber is Sifir Alphas Mefurish, the Rasak Tzeichamayim is Aser.
What it comes out is that they're just choosing the Rishonim. The Mechaber is going l'shita of Rashi.
Of Rashi, maybe, yeah.
And
right.
He's pointing out that
it could be the Mechaber is going with Rashi that the Isser looks like you're creating, not schita.
Right.
And it could be that it's even if it's in the water, it looks like.
Then it would be more.
It's a malacha. It looks like a malacha. So, but it's important to know that the Mechaber in Sifir Aleph says mefurish that it's aser. Sfardim have to be machmir. Sfardim go to Mechaber. If you want to do it in water itself, it should be aser. Now, there's a Sharetzion in Shiur Ches. If you look at Shiur Ches, This is before we go to Shidduch Ches. Let's say Mishnah over here by us. Mishnah by us says on Sif Tes. That's the whole Mishnah. It's very important to see the side. Sif Tes. Sif Kal Lamed Beis. The Chaticha is Dakos. Says the Mishnah Berurah, "V'lishbar chaticha memenu shari." To break off a piece from the ice is mutter. V'afilu im yizevu k'tzas mayim, even though some water comes out of it, it doesn't make a difference. Like the schavan lazeh. V'oy tzahadach le'ibud. It doesn't look like you're creating water. Fine. Meimav. What's the reason why you can't do it? Says the Mishnah Berurah, two reasons. One is the dami l'melacha. It looks like a malacha shebayre hamayim halalu v'asam midirabanan.
This is Rosh Hashanah.
Rosh Hashanah that you're creating. It looks like you're creating the water by breaking up the pieces of ice. Inami, another reason. So Mishnah Berurah brings down only two reasons over here. Why is it bringing down only two reasons? He doesn't bring down Sefer Truma. If you look in the Sharetzion, Sif Cotton. Lamed Hey, Rambam, the second reason, V'shmatati tam the noilad. I left out the tam of noilad. Why? The Mechaber does not hold the Sefer Truma. The end of the Mechaber, we'll see, he's matter to put it neged achama, because I had to put it in the sun, because you're not doing anything, you just put it by yourself, the rest is happening by itself. Only according to the Sefer Truma is that also. The Mechaber does matter it, obviously doesn't hold the Sefer Truma. Said the Sharetzion, I only brought down the first two reasons because the Mechaber does not hold the Sefer Truma. I will get back to that soon.
Well, he already told us that in Shiur Ches.
Yeah. That's fine.
What does the Mishnah Berurah says about Shavuot Libud, meaning that because you're not using the water, or
right.
it's just going to it? So why in Yudalef is Mechaber saying that you have to be careful because you're not using the water's going to Libud anyway?
When you're washing your hands?
Yeah.
No, but you're using it, when the ice is turning into water, you're using it to wash your hands. Then it goes to Ibud.
But here also...
No, here you're breaking off a piece and you want to use the ice. You don't care about the water.
Right.
In the case of Sif Aleph, you want the water. You want the shell that turns into water, you need it. You need it to wash your hands. After you wash your hands, then it goes to Ibud.
So
first
in a case, as a general rule then, if you don't want the water, in other words, let's say there's some ice on your glass or on your window and you just want to see out the window, you can break off the glass even though it's going to melt because it's for the
Correct, because you don't need the water. Correct, you don't want the water. Okay, Ve'enech Choshe says the Mishnah Berurah, next one, Sifkat Lamadalid, Kivin li oven ma'aseh b'yadayim le'gozer bei. Since you didn't do a ma'aseh b'yadayim, le'gozer bei rabbanim. Now, v'yesh matirim, this is if you drop it into the water. If you drop it into the water, v'yesh matirim afil l'rasik b'yadayim, l'toich kois. Some people are not even to do ritzuk b'yadayim, which is the Magen Avraham we just saw. Right? Ritzuk b'yadayim is mutter. V'atam, the kivin she'nes'ara b'masha b'toich ha'kois, ve'ena ve'en le'gozer bei klal. Since you did it into a kais, right away it gets mixed into the kais, they didn't make a gzeira in such a case. That's the Magen Avraham. Now here, the Mishnah Berurah doesn't bring down the Machmirim. Brings down the Magen Avraham. If you look in Siman Shin Yud Ches, in Siman Shin Yud Ches, not the case of Panada. Look in Sif Yud Tes it is. It's the Mishnah Berurah Sif Cotton Yud Tes. Sif Cotton Kuf Yud Tes, I mean. It's the Mishnah Berurah Sif Cotton Kuf Yud Tes. It's the last page of Shin Yud Tes. This page Kuf Lamed Tes in the Mishnah Berurah. So if you look in Sif Cotton Kuf Yud Ches, it's talking about putting something with shumin keneged hamadura, something with oil, with a fat. So if you go down by the ice Kuf Mem Vav of the Sharetzion in the Mishnah Berurah, it says, "V'lvad shelo yasikenu b'yadayim." You shouldn't be mirasik with your hands. Rak yinechenu ola ma'at ma'at. That means you have here butter, shumin. You want to smear it onto your meat or your bread. So it says, just put it on and let it melt in. Don't be mirasik b'yadayim. Don't smear it on. Don't push hard. Why? Because pushing hard is risik b'yadayim, but it's a risik b'yadayim in water. Right? That's the same thing we just spoke about now. Here, when you smear butter on bread, what's happening? It's not staying bad. Right away, it gets absorbed into the bread. So why is that different?
You see it.
You see it? I don't know if you see it.
Oh, is it glistening, the shuman on it?
Okay. But that's what he says. It should be Rasa could be a dime. So if you look at the Sha'ar Tzia Kufa above, it says like this. The Kama Poiskin Savrin, the Mutter the Rasik Bora the Techa Kois, right? Did I do in a Kois? Who are din Hacha, the Mutter the Rasik? Here also. You can do the shumin onto the meat or onto the bread because you don't see it. But Toiv the Hachmir, says the Mishabur here, it should be Machmir, the Chatchila, the Gam, Shomer, Shulchan Aruch, Mashmal Hachmir. Now what does it mean Shulchan Aruch is Mashmal Hachmir? Which Shulchan Aruch?
Yud
Aleph. So that's why it's mashmas, mefurish that it's also. So the Sha'ar Tzia over there says, you want to be Merasa could be a dime in the kois, the Mechaber is Machmer, is a Morgan Bram, that's Mekel, and it says, Taiv l'Hachmer, it's better to be Machmer. So that's the first part of this Sif. Be Merasa Shela Gebar with your hands is also for the two reasons that we saw. If it's in water, the Morgan Bram is matter it, the Mechaber asers it, the Sha'ar Tzia and Shiur Ches says, Taiv l'Hachmer. And we'll see soon, this will be very negeya, if you want to mix any sugar or stuff in your cup. You add sugar, like sugar cubes, into a tea, into a coffee, and you want to mix it with a spoon, that's you're being rasik, it's teicha kois. And according to the Mechaber, it's teiv l'achmer. According to the Mechaber, it's also, according to the Sha'ar Tzia, it'll be teiv l'achmer, we'll see a tater for that later on. But that's what will be today. The day today, anything you're putting in water, and you're mixing it, it should be also out risuk b'yadayim b'toich hakois.
Are we going to get to dealing with snow and ice like on your driveway?
Meaning, should I move it?
Yeah.
So there's nothing to do with this.
No, is that not looking into this?
No, because to move it, you're not move it. You're not being rasik it. The question would be if you put salt. The question would be to put salt on the ice. That would be an issue maybe.
That comes out of Melicha.
Salt on ice, and then you're melting it. That's the sif. Just to crack the ice, we saw already that just to break a piece of ice because you want to get rid of it, and you don't care about the water, that's not a problem. It's not a problem. Breaking the ice in your driveway.
So you're allowed to kind of clean your driveway on Shabbos?
Yeah, to break the ice? Yeah. To break the ice without? Why not?
To move the snow. Yeah.
To move the snow. There's other problem, maybe a muktzah, but that is a problem. If you want to clear your steps from snow, it's mutter on Shabbos. We'll see about pouring salt.
If you've got a powdered fruit drink, powdered iced tea, and add water to it, you mix it.
Right. So the question is, same thing. Any powder, coffee, instant coffee, any powder you put into a drink and you're mixing it, is that this halacha that teich hakois should be yasser? Right, that's what you're doing basically. Any powder, you put into water and you mix it.
Put in the powder and then
and then you mix it, but you're mixing it. That's
when we have sugar at the bottom and
where's the marasek? When you're dissolving something in water, where's the marasek?
Because
not crushing it.
That's marasek.
Well, it's already crushed.
Yeah.
It's already crushed. We're saying that you put powder into liquid, you're not doing anything, it's already crushed.
What, you're crushing it more?
Right?
It's
already crushed.
Is dissolving the same word as crushing?
So that's the question. Is dissolving the same thing as crushing? No. Taking the powder and making it into water, that's what you're doing.
But even if you don't,
powder, you make it into water.
But even if you don't stir it, it gets dissolved anyway.
Yeah, so that's fully dissolved. That's fully dissolved.
Dissolving is not the same as melting.
That's the same as melting. Okay?
Physically, it's not the same thing.
We'll get to this. We'll get to all of it. I want to say a few more sifit, and then we'll get to all of it. Okay, there's a whole thing about melach.
That's the medical term.
Salt is the same thing as every powder today. So let's see.
Yeah.
I'm putting this up, but remember, this one halacha, there's going to be 3 different halachas here. We're going to have to put them all together. The first halacha is to take it actually with your hand and crush it up, or crushing it in a cup. First halacha. The next thing the Mechaber says, you put it in the sun, and it in itself melts. The Mechaber says, mutar. Why is it mutar? Because the first 2 reasons you have to do with biyadayim. You have to smash the biyadayim in order to become a malacha, or schita, you have to do with biyadayim. There's no schita, you're putting it in the sun and it melts, it won't be also. Says the Magen Avraham, by the way, Sif Kal Yudal Denichem Bechama, Lefi Masha Kosev Rema, B'Simen Shin Yud Ches, Sif Yud Vav, Zetazayin, Gam Hacha, Asa Mishum Noilid, El Im Kenu Mora B'Mayim. Says the Magen Avraham, if you remember the Rema in Simen Shin Yud Ches, the Rema says if you have fats, shumin, and you want to put a Keneged HaMedura, the Rema says it's Asa. The Rema Sif Tazayin says, Mutter Litin in Panada Keneged Eish Magen Shas Ledeskoy, Afa Pisha Shumin Sheba Shanikra Shchezev in Nimuach. That's the Mechaber. But, says the Rema, V'yesh Machmirim, V'nagol HaChmir. Who's the Yesh Machmirim? The Sefer HaTshuma, the 3rd sheet that we said. Sefer HaTshuma says, even though you're not doing anything, you just put it in the sun, it's awesome. Why? Because the sun is melting it and making it into liquid.
But here
you need the sun?
Or not.
You need the sun.
Why?
I'll get to that in a second. Why you need the sun, huh?
But here we prove not.
Yeah, here the Mechaber is matir.
Yeah.
But the Sfaradim can be mekel. Ashkenazim have to be machmir. And the Sefer HaTshuma says you put it in the sun. Sefer HaTshuma does not say you let it sit out and it melts by itself. What's the difference? What's the difference in Sefer HaTshuma? Right, it says only Nichem B'cham. You don't find in the Sefer HaTshuma, if you take ice out of the freezer and you put it and let it sit, it's awesome. You don't see that.
So we don't have that. That we don't.
So on this is already a big machlokes in Achronim.
Right.
What's the issue of the Sefer HaTshuma? The Sefer HaTshuma happened to say we're talking about you put it in the chama, because otherwise the sugar won't melt. But let's say I take something out of the freezer and it melts by itself with the same issue, or the Sefer HaTshuma talking about dafki v'nichem b'chama. So in here, last time we went through a tshuva from the Shevet HaLevi. Shevet HaLevi comes up with a chiddush, a lot of places go with it, and he says the Sefer HaTshuma is not saying that anytime you have something that melts, it's also because of melted. He's not saying that. He's going with Rashi. Rashi says, now do a meister to make something new.
Yeah.
He holds that you take it and you put it in the sun, even though you're not mamish doing a biyadayim, it's also an issa. It's also an issa. Even though you didn't do a biyadayim, you put it in the sun and the sun is melting it, it's the same issa. But that issa is only if you did a meister and you put it in the sun. But if you take something out of the freezer and it melts by itself, says the Shevet HaLevi, it's not a problem. Even according to Sefer HaTshuma, it's not a problem. Because I didn't do a meiser to make it melt by putting it by the fire. I took it out. Now it's a different.
Agree that if, let's say, you were eating outside on Shabbos lunch in a hot.
You take it on a hot day, same thing.
And you're eating there.
Yeah.
And there happens to be sun.
Yeah,
and
same
you
thing.
have ice at the table.
Correct. Same thing. Hinicha b'chama means you put it in the sun. Right. You put it in the sun to melt it.
It's intentions.
Right. But anytime you take something, you take it out of the freezer and it melts by itself, says the Shevet HaLevi, even according to the Sefer HaTshuma, it's mutter. So if you have ice, you take ice out of the freezer and it's in a bowl and it melts, you want to drink the water according to the Shevet HaLevi, so no problem, you can drink the water. The Sefer HaTshuma is only when you did something, you put it next to the sun, you put it next to the fire. Even though you didn't mamish melt it with your hands, but you put it in a matziv to make it melt, it's also awesome. It's also awesome.
And Shlomo argues that.
I don't know, love Africa.
But by taking it out of the freezer.
He brings
Did you say that the water is awesome?
Yeah, the water is
okay, it says the water is awesome.
He passes against that.
But I'm not sure Shmir Shabbos is talking about when you take it out of the freezer. So we put it in Nichem B'chama.
He learns the Mishnah Brura that we saw in Lamed.
So even if you just take it out?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So argues.
The case that we had, the girls who needed the water.
Right, that's the case of Shevet HaLevi. You take a frozen water bottle, and you carry it with you in the hot days, and it melts. According to Shevet HaLevi, you're allowed to drink it.
Right, but Shlomo Zalman says.
Shevet HaLevi says argues. Okay, so he holds Sefer HaTshuma's issue is
even
any time something melts, it's awesome. So this is where Machlokes Nachronim exactly what the Sefer Truma meant. But everyone agrees the Sefer Truma to put it in Nicha Bechama, everyone agrees is also. One of Machlokes says if I didn't do that, I didn't put it Bechama, I took it out and defrosted by itself, that's the Machlokes Nachronim if the water is also or the water is mutter. I think most of the poskim today are matter the water that comes from ice. If I'm not mistaken.
What about in the middle situation? Let's say you took out, you put it into a cup, you put it by the window, it was a cloudy day. And now later the sun comes out. And
so very good. That's, the truth is, that's the Shevet Levi's Raya. Shevet Levi says that in Shinyut Ches, the Magen Avram, in the Sefer Truma says that you're not allowed to put it bechama to make it melt, but you're allowed to put it on the oven before the guy turns on the oven.
Yeah.
Magen Avram says that.
Yeah.
Right, it's Shinyut Ches. What do you mean allowed to put it in the oven before the guy turns it on? The guy turns it on, it's going to melt.
Right.
So once it melted, it's awesome. So the Shevet Levi, you see from over there that the issue is not something that melted. This is your mice of making it melt. So then if you put it next to your window, and the sun's not out, and it's cloudy day, and then the sun comes out and melts it, it's mutter. It's only you can't put it bechama. And it's a very strong raya he brings. From if you're putting it on the oven before the guy lights the oven. It's mutter. The Magen Avram says it's mutter. So it's a very strong raya. The Shevet Levi, the issue is not the thing that melted, you're not allowed to drink it no matter what.
Right. Look at the Mishnah Brura in Lamed Hay. Right? The last two lines is the proof the other way.
No, I'll tell you why. I can't tell you read it. I hear where you're coming from, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm not quoting myself here. I'm just...
Okay, that's what it says. Let's read Lamed Hay. Mutter lehanis me'av whether the mutter lechatchila laniach kirin she'mele nemuach k'mal tachakais. Kol dasur ma b'simishin yotches sifta zayim aga gam hochi yesh lahachmir av dinimuach me'elav asar mishum noilid. What does it mean? You put the chachama. So it's not only when you take it out of the freezer. It doesn't say when you take it out of the freezer. Even in this case, it's also, that's what the Ramah says. Right? Shevet Levi's not arguing on that.
Right.
I don't know who brings the raya from here. Who brings the raya from here?
This is brought down Shmir Shabbos B'Shem Rishon.
I can't believe that. Sorry. I'm sorry, because what's he saying over here?
You're saying it's
the Shevet is not arguing on this. That's the Ramah. The Shevet is masking to that. He did only by Nich B'Chama. Where does it say over here in the Mishnah Brura that even if it's not Nich B'Chama, it's also awesome? It says that this case, Gab Hochi Yesh L'Hachmer Af Dinimuach Me'elav Asa Mishum Noilad.
So you're saying this? So you're saying
this case of Chama
because it's Keneged Amadura.
Yeah, he's not saying anything different. And the Shevet Levi is saying Enechanami. Keneged Amadura, it's not awesome.
Yeah. Right.
But what is not Keneged Achama that you don't see it?
I must say, I agree.
Yeah.
I'm not.
So you have to know what the Shmir Shabbos and Chasa on the bar. It wasn't made by Shlomo Zalman.
I know.
You see, there could be it's misquoted. Yeah, you have to. From here to there is no raya. Okay, so that's Sefer Truma. Now let's move on. Sif Yud. Mutter l'shaber hakerach da little mayim metachta. We let it break ice to get to the water from under it. Why? Why not break the ice to get the water from under? Because you're not making any water.
You don't need the ice. And
If you look at the Mishnah Brura, Sif Kot Lamed Vav, it's very important for you. You're chopping the ice on your driveway. It says the Mishnah Brura, Sif Kot Lamed Vav, l'shaber hakerach, the shviris hakerach eino melacha klal. Breaking ice is not a malacha. No, it's a breaking ice. But it's only us if you're doing it in order to get the water. So if you're not doing it to get water, it's mutter. So breaking ice, there's no issue. So you want to chop the ice in your driveway on Shabbos, there's no issue whatsoever out this halacha.
That's breaking it, but salting it?
Salting we get to. Salting could be worse. Because salting you're making it into water.
And then just, practically breaking it with some kind of kli, does that make a difference?
No. It's a clear miyuchad lekach to break ice. What's wrong? What's wrong with using an ice chopper? It's not from lachtal itzer. Chopping ice is a mutter. So using an ice chopper on Shabbos, what should be the itzer? Yeah, using a kli shamlachta l'itzer. It's a malacha. It's mutter on Shabbos. Chopping ice is mutter on Shabbos. So what's wrong with using an ice chop?
And it has nothing to do with the pikuach nefesh, right?
No.
It's another reason.
Nothing. Well, see, salting ice on Shabbos, even though maybe it's an isser, but if it's on the steps, a lot of places are going to matter because it's sakana. And there's a lot that's told them the hakol even without a sakana. So kolshkim, walking in that slippery, so might fall and hurt himself. It definitely is allowed to put salt on the ice on Shabbos.
Is a
no,
considered?
No, if I can't. Lachmer is worse. Because it's a Shabbat called Baruch. Shabbat hurting somebody. Don't be a machmer, you're not a cheshbon. Right? As far as a cheshbon, you can't be a machmer. If you look at the Magen Avraham, Sivkan Tezvav, the Saber HaKerach, Begdolim Mizu Omru, Shever HaChavi Yislechel Groigeris, V'ne'eli the Benar Oibe'er Osem. Now this Magen Avraham is a big chiddush. When a pastor is Magen Avraham, Magen Avraham is saying that if it's ice on a river, then what you're doing is it's attached to the ground, and when you're breaking the ice, it's like you're breaking ground. It's a shalat and tzaisi. It's a question of tzaisi. The Miche we don't go to Magen Avraham and break ice, even on water, which is maybe mechubal karka, is still mutter. So let's see if Yud. See if Yud Aleph. Tzorech l'zoher b'chayre. You have to be careful in the winter. Shlayit yadav v'mayim sheyesh b'hem yisuras halacha re'shalag v'bara d'mitol yizor shlay dachem and yadav shlayim raseh. This is the mechaber that holds. If you're washing your hands in water with snow inside, it's a problem of a risuk. Even though it's in the water, that's the mechaber's chumrah, that even in water itself is also the Magen Avraham argued on that. Now, another halacha. Yesh l'zoher shlay shavshef yadav b'melech. You have to be careful not to rub your hands with salt. Now what's the problem?
If you touch the ice afterwards, it will melt.
Wet hands? Is this wet?
Melting the salt.
I guess wet hands.
To dry them. You want to dry them.
I'm not sure why you're doing it. I'm not sure why you're using salt. I'm not sure why they use salt. Maybe, I'm not sure. But what happens is you're smashing the salt, and you're melting the salt.
You're changing it.
You're melting the salt. So here we see melech, salt, which even though it's little pieces, by melting it and making it into water, it's asur. So if you want to say that any powder is mutter,
B'melech it says lefi shenimuach v'hu noilet.
Yeah, because melech salt becomes nimuach, and it's like noilet. You're making the salt into water.
So then
no, maybe making the salt into smaller, like you're basically refining it. Maybe it has nothing to do with it.
If it's talking about big pieces of salt, right?
Right.
And you're smashing it, that's toichin. That's something else.
Yeah.
That's not the salacha, that's not noilet, it's not changing it. That would be toichin.
What would be the difference between this and putting salt in your food, in your soup?
So putting salt in your soup, what's happening?
Dissolves.
Yeah, that's chamayim, it's mutter. You're allowed to take sheleg, siftes, and put it into water, and it melts by itself, it's fine. Right? That you're allowed to do. You're not allowed to be murasik, it be a dayim in the water. So here, if I have salt on my hands and I'm melting the salt by pushing it, that's a problem.
And
right?
so from here you would
derive that any powder you put into liquid, if you put it in and melts by itself, that's okay. But if you're going to mix it and dissolve it, that could be an issue. Right? Is that clear? So I've seen.
It must be that your hands are wet when you.
Yeah, your hands are wet.
It's dry salt.
Yeah, you're not. It's not going to walk. Yeah.
It's just maybe it'll crush into smaller pieces.
Correct.
But nothing else is going to happen.
Correct.
Yeah.
According to the sheets, it says the problem is that rubbing salt between one's hands produces water.
It means if your hands are wet. Whatever it is, you're changing the salt into water.
Right.
So you see from over here, any powder that you're changing from powder into liquid, if you're doing it biyadayim, it's a problem. You're adding it to your liquid, it's not a problem. But if
you're not turning it into liquid.
Can you make?
It's just dissolving in liquid.
So I saw that some of the Achronim say, and everyone asks this question: how can you put sugar or anything into the thing and mix it?
Right.
You're mixing it. It's the halacha of shelag u'borad. I've seen from Achronim they say, there's lots of Chai Adam also really, that you're not changing it into liquid. You're dissolving it, and right now you can't see it, small particles. For Raya, when the water evaporates, the salt stays in the cup. Right? But if that's the case, then why is Melech Aser? The fact that Melech is Aser is a Raya that you don't have a heter to take salt and dissolve it b'yadayim because it's not really becoming liquid. Because it's staying a solid but smaller particles. So then why is Melech Aser? The Mechaber Aser's Melech, it's a raya to all powders.
No, but that's only by a dime. You just put the sugar straight.
No, I'm not talking straight. You put it straight, it's mutter. That's like shelik putting shelik into water. I'm talking about stirring it or rubbing. Let's start with rubbing it with your hands.
Okay.
So first of all, like a Melech.
Awesome.
Any svara you want to give me that a powder doesn't become a liquid, it stays in oichel because eventually when the water evaporates, it stays inside. What do you do with salt? As a pelfrey in the Chai Adam says that you're allowed to mix. You put sugar in, you're allowed to mix it. So he says, one reason he says is because we hold like the Magen Avraham. If you hold like the Magen Avraham, you can mix whatever you want. Right? Because as long as it's in the water, I fill it out with Playtime, it's mutter. But Shlomo Zalman says, you're allowed to mix your sugar on Shabbos because we hold, go with the Magen Avraham. Go with the Magen Avraham.
Some solution that the ice cubes, while you're in your mouth and you drink,
it's dissolved by itself. Yeah, that's an ice cube. Yeah.
You said Shlomo Zalman.
Shlomo Zalman says it's mutter to mix anything with powder because of the Magen Avraham.
Isn't that
because that's material?
Siftet in the Mechaber? Because it's nimach melach.
No, but it's not Siftet, it's the Magen Avraham, it's Siftet.
No, but also it's according to the Mechaber. No, if it dissolves on itself.
If it dissolves by itself, yeah, I'm not talking about dissolve by itself.
Sugar, you're putting the sugar.
Yeah, you're putting the sugar, it dissolves by itself, it's mutter. That's not a question. Everyone agrees it's mutter. I'm talking about the stirring.
But that's afterwards. If you stir it afterwards, who cares already? It's already been...
No, it's not obviously not fully dissolved.
You stir is to dissolve it.
You stir it, it's not fully dissolved. So if Shlomo Zalman says it's mutter because of the Magen Avraham. Magen Avraham says that even if it's in the water, once it's in the water, you're allowed to dissolve it b'yadayim, it's not a problem. Fine, that's very simple. Some Achronim say, even if you don't hold like the Magen Avraham, when you put something into water and it's mainly dissolved, so it's not a problem. Like he was saying, it's mostly dissolved, so it's not a problem. If you don't go with the Magen Avraham, the matter it. Because even the Sfardim could mix their sugar and anything they want. Okay? You have a heter also. Most of the places come out of the heter to mix the sugar. The question is why. But the Chai Adam throws in because it's an oichel and it never changes. The question is why is it different than Melech? Melech says mafurish, it's awesome. I say with the cash, I know teretz that I'm not going to wrong. So you see from here, from Sifrit Beis, that Melech is an issue because it is.
Didn't we learn somewhere that Melech is not considered? That Melech is not considered an oichel.
Yeah.
We learned somewhere that Melech was not considered an oichel. Where did we learn that?
We learned a few weeks ago. We actually talked about. We spoke about.
We said that Melech was not considered an oichel.
Right.
Okay, remind me.
You did.
Am I right?
Yes, you are.
Am I asking you to hear? You say the what? Since it's not oichel to begin with, so you're not doing anything.
No, so maybe that's why there's a chiluk with Melech.
Well, it's not oichel to begin with. So what are you doing when you're dissolving it? Melech is, you make the kasha stronger. Because the Melech was a mashka to begin with, and still it's also.
No. He's saying so. It's not an oichel to begin with, and now you've dissolved it. Now you can have it with something. I don't know.
No, but it's worse. The Mechaber says Melech is also. If Melech is not an oichel, it's a mashka to begin with. Kosh could solve that's an oichel.
He's not saying it's a mashka.
You're making it.
Oh, it's nothing.
I'm not. Yeah, it's just not considered. But it's not considered.
It could be you can find the chiluk between Melech and other powders and the chanami.
It's a problem.
But here the Mechaber says Melech is also. So mixing powders. If you go to Magen Avraham, it's definitely mutter. and even if you go with the Mechaber that says the Rasik B'Yadayim in Mayim is Aser, Pesachim was still matter it, and they say that mixing it is not mamish being Rasik B'Yadayim, it's already mostly dissolved, it's not a problem. So mixing is okay.
See if you'd bet as you actually read it, doesn't mean that you're doing it into a kolos.
No.
Right, correct? I'm just saying, he's just doing it outside of the
See, basically with the outside, it doesn't mean right that Melech is a problem. That's not called an Eichel, that was dissolved. It's a problem because it's dissolving Melech is an issue. I'm not speaking right in Sifid Beis that Melech, you can't give me a heter that Melech never becomes a mashker. You can't say that. Because you see, Melech here becomes a mashker. That's the issue in Sifid Beis. If Melech would never become a mashker, then Sifid Beis wouldn't be true.
Why is stirring not Merasik B'Yadayim, according to that?
So I want to say, I think I saw from some Chazanish, I don't know who it's from. The sheet's been down, I think, from some of the Achrayim, that since it's mainly dissolved already, so it's not really Merasik B'Yadayim. Rav Shlomo Zalman is the easiest way out. Shlomo Zalman says, we're going to Magen Avraham. The Magen Avraham, it's mutter. Fine. Let's move on a little bit. Sifid Gimel. A person's going to walk on snow, now, even though he's making it into water,
because he doesn't need the water.
So he doesn't say that. He says, the Taz brings down over here, near the Afgaf EF in the Muach, have a psik ratio, it's sure going to become liquid, the Kamakam like Gazu Bazet. Kivin the EF shall reserve is every Maisachayim. It's impossible to be careful.
Yes, it
doesn't say that for some reason.
You're talking about barefoot.
He says they never made an Isser, and therefore, because it's impossible, they never made the Isser.
Is it he's talking about barefoot walking?
No, even with shoes.
But shoes never snow when they melt. Huh? Barefoot, there is a word.
It's hot outside.
Because you can walk.
But if it's not so hot outside, and you walk in snow, you make it into slush, right? It melts it.
Okay. I thought barefoot, I mean, it's a word.
Oh, let's see if you doubt it. Haram Mirottenberg, Matil Lahatal Meraglayim Mishalek, Rosh Hayinizim. So the Haram Mirottenberg was Matil to Matil Meraglayim on Shalek, even though when you're doing it, you're melting it. You're melting the snow. Because it's warm, I guess, and it melts the snow. But Rosh Hashanah, they shouldn't do it. So if you look in the Magen Avraham, Yedzayim, Hayinizim, Ki Aidei HaSheten, Vaday Nimuach. V'lei Domi L'Siv Tes, T'Shari Litan L'Techamayim, T'Hacha Iyuk Oven Maisa. Here you're doing a Maisa, you are being matched on it, and you are melting the snow. Now this halacha is Negeya, not this case, but this halacha is Negeya. What's the halacha if someone has coffee in a cup or anything, salt in a cup, and you want to pour hot water onto it? What's that like? And you want to pour hot water onto the salt or the sugar. Is that called I'm doing a b'yadayim or not? So the chayv from Sifid Dal is mashma. If you take hot water and you pour it onto something that's becoming nimuach, that's called doing a b'yadayim. Right? That's called doing a b'yadayim. So we said you want to have hot water, add your coffee or anything powder to it, and it melts, and you're mixing it. It's mutter. I'm sure according to the Magen Avraham it's mutter. But how about the opposite? How about if you're not adding it and you're not mixing it, you have the powder in the cup, you're pouring hot water onto the powder. Is that mutter or not? The chayre from Sifid Daled you would see that that's also. That's called doing a b'yadayim. That's called doing a b'yadayim. The chayre should be also. So anytime you have anything in a cup, you want to pour water in it, the chayre should be also.
Well, the Harav,
so Meram and Rottenberg comes matter for other reasons, because it says it's Yefsher.
Personally,
well, you're not going actually to use the melted ice, are you?
It has it.
I mean, isn't like that he's going to use the melted ice.
Right, but nobody's melting it.
Yeah, before the heat, I'm going actually back to...
I know. No. Here, no.
He's not using it.
No. Lipa is when I'm breaking the ice and some water comes out, we don't ask her because you're breaking the ice.
Right.
Here you're melting it. You're pouring hot water on snow.
No,
There's no head to pour hot water on snow because you're not using the water. Lipa is not a head to always mutter.
It's the same thing like putting ice on the snow.
It's
Like putting
salt
on the snow. Yeah.
So, and the reason why I'm saying this is because the Achai speaking about this also. You have salt or sugar in a cup, and you pour hot water on it. So I would say maybe that's daima to the case of the Magen Avram, that if you have in a cup and you add shelag and you want to mix it in the cup, you want to melt it in the cup, that's mutter b'teich hakos. So is this daima to that case or not? Pouring hot water onto salt, is that the same thing as the Magen Avram of breaking it in the water? Because here it's not nicker. The second you pour the hot water, what happens? It melts right away into the water. So maybe according to the Magen Avram, you have a heter. The mechaber that asks it, maybe it's the mechaber l'shitasa. The mechaber Sifri Aleph says, so therefore pouring it onto it should be the same thing. Right? Maybe. But the problem is the Magen Avram himself asks to pour hot water on shumim. Because it's called Risik B'yadai. We had the Magen Avram, if anybody remembers where we had it. Probably not, because when we learned to see it in the Magen Avram is in the end of Shiur Rishon Gimel. All the way to the end of simulation of Gimel, the Magen Avram. Oh, you guys don't have it. You have the Yechiel. So I can say whatever I want now.
I got it. Well, I'll have to believe you.
Except that you're on camera.
Oh. No. The Magen Avram says like this. In the end of Rishon of Gimel, says the Magen Avram, he's talking about cleaning dishes. So the shuman on the dishes, they put out water on it. Maybe you're being mavashal the shuman.
But we don't want it.
So he says like this. Miu, kisha kelim meluchlachem b'shumin. When the kelim are dirty with shumin, with oil, with fats, literally the aser lishbeich roischem aleihem. You're not allowed to pour hot water onto the fats. Why? Shekosov Simin Shinchaf Sif Yud Daled.
Who's going to put hot water?
What's Sif Yud Daled?
Who's going to use hot water?
You have hot water. What's Sif Yud Daled?
Yeah, Shinchaf.
What's Sif Yud Daled? Shinchaf Sif Yud Daled? It's a case of Merag Lion. It's a case of Merag Lion. Now the Magen Avram we saw argues on the Mechaber at Sif Yud Aleph. He holds Sif Yud Aleph is mutter. If Sif Yud Daled is only because of the Mechaber L'Shetasai, the Teicha Bayib is Aser, why is the Magen Avram bringing it down if he doesn't pass it that way? Magen Avram says to pour hot water onto Shumin is Aser because of Sif Yud Daled. You see with this Magen Avram that even though he's matter to be Mirasik Teicha Mayim, he's matter to do with Teicha Mayim, pouring hot water onto it is not the same thing as Teicha Mayim, that's Aser.
Maybe it's only with Shuman though.
Why?
Because it's nicker, never dissolves completely. You can always see the Shuman.
Oh yeah, could be.
The float, like we said before.
Okay, could be. Possible on the Shuman because even after it melts it's nicker. Mm-hmm. But then why did it say you should send it to Shin Yud Ches?
That's the point.
Why did it send it to here, Yud Daled? Send it to Sif Yud Daled, which is pouring Merag Lion on the shelag, which is melting it. That's called Risik B'yadayim, and not Teicha Koitz. Right? So I think it's the first right from the Magen Avram that he held pouring hot water onto melach is Aser. Even though he's matter Teicha Koitz, this is Aser. Now one more thing I want to end off with, it's a cute thing. But you look here in the Taz, Sif Cotton Test. The Taz Sif Cotton Test says by melach, you're not allowed to rub your hands with salt and dissolve it because of Noilat. Says the Taz, Yod B'melach, Lefi Shenimuach V'Hav Noilat. Right? It's Nimuach and it becomes Noilat, even though it's a melach, it's called Noilat. Can't cost a B'tur B'Shem Balak Shumah. Umashma, says the Taz, the mutter lahashlich mayim b'melach. Who has that?
I do. I do too. Yeah, melach b'mayim.
I also.
Melach b'mayim.
Melach b'mayim also? Makes a big difference. We'll see in a second. We'll see in a second. Okay? My old Shulchan Aruch. And the Shulchan Aruch it says, "Umashma the mutter lahashlich." Well, not finished yet. Umashma the mutter lahashlich mayim b'melach. You're not to put water on salt. V'achakach noitel yadav. Why? So the Taz, you're allowed to pour hot water onto the salt and melt it. Just like you're allowed to put sheleg into the water. What's that then? Here you're pouring mayim b'melach, right? That's what he says.
You also says melach b'mayim. So
if you take out the Mishnah Berurah, Mishnah Berurah changes the Gisa. That's why your Shulchan Aruch have it. Mishnah Berurah says, bring down the Taz. Sifkan Yud Beis. Sifkan Lamed Ches, Sifkan Lamed Ches. Sif Yud Beis. V'melech hatam kanal. V'shal gebar the gam bezeh is have a mayim aydei shef. It's going to become water and it's loaded. V'hayne dafka v'melech levad. Ava muter lahashlech melech b'mayim. You're allowed to put salt into water. Afilu harbe v'little yadav. So the Taz, the way you read the Taz is mashma, you're allowed to put water onto salt. But the Mishmur changes the Gisa and it says melech b'mayim. So I see in the new Shulchan Aruch they all changed the Gisa already.
Right.
But I've seen Paiskin that being a raya from the Taz, they're allowed to pour hot water onto salt to melt it. And they say even though Mishmur changed it, it's lav dafka, but I guess the Matfisim over here tried to change it also, which is I think that they shouldn't have done that, because the Taz b'ro mayim b'melech, and the person go with it. You can't just change whatever you want. It's not up to the printers to decide what to change, what not to change. But maybe they got it because of the Mishnah Berurah says it.
They're relying on the Mishnah Berurah.
Yeah, they're relying on the Mishnah Berurah. The Mishnah Berurah says you're allowed to put the salt in the water. Then everyone agrees it's mutter. But to pour hot water onto it, that could be his asr. So again, to pour hot water onto salt or anything that's melted, it's meltable, it could be his asr. It could be his asr. Good. The Chai Adam says even to pour hot water onto sugar, or sugar says, is mutter. And he goes with his heter that maybe sugar is called an oichel and you're not making it into a mashka. He goes with that heter. But other person arguing, they say to pour hot water onto sugar or anything, you have coffee. Instant coffee. To pour hot water onto it, that could be called the moch b'yadayim.
So it's always better to put the coffee into the hot water than the hot water over the coffee.
Correct. Always better to put anything you're doing with hot water that's melting the powder. It's always better to add the powder into the water.
Is this the makor also for not using liquid soap as opposed to using other soap or hard soaps which have what I say like pieces?
No, hard soap is a different reason. It's a Miche.
No, I'm saying sometimes you have these kind of like it's got little should I say pieces of in order to
that's a problem. That's a big time. Yes, that's a big time. It's like melech. Yes, that's a big time. So let's just make a quick tikkun.
Before you, so does that are we coming out that the Magen Avram is retracting from his
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I'm going to write from the Magen Avram that some people want to say that the Magen Avram is matzah to be mrasakin in the water. Pouring hot water onto it is the same thing as being mrasakin in the water. I'm going to write from the Magen Avram, it's not that way. Pouring hot water onto it is not called the rasik in the water. Because when it hits it, it's not in the water yet. Even the Magen Avram will be masking its also. To pour hot water onto salt, even though the Magen Avram says the rasik b'yadayim in the water is mutter, pouring hot water onto something is worse. Like the Magen Avram in Reish Gimel. That's worse. That's if you dalit.
So the heter then for pouring would be looking at halacha yadalit and saying, do you pass come like the Rosh or do you pass come like
No. Who said the heter pouring? The Mam Rottenberg says a different heter over there. It's hard to be Eliezer, so he has to use the bathroom over there. It's hard to be Eliezer, but it's masculine. The be'etzem is also that's wisdom.
So you're saying, even the ones who are matter there by the satain would still be matter in the case of
also to pour hot water. Correct. To make a quick sikkum, we had over here to take shell like a bar by itself, to squash it and make it into water is awesome. In a kois, machlokas maga avram and mechaber. It's better to machmer to mechaber. Melach, we said, is also right, and then to pour, he said, is not the same thing as being merasik. To pouring it, we say, not the same thing as being merasik to chakois. To pouring it is a regular issa of risa.
How do you come out leheter for a coffee?
A coffee, mixing a coffee, the pricing of matzah, because they say once it's in the water, it's already basically dissolved. Unless it goes to
pouring hot water.
No, who says you can pour hot water onto coffee? Who says you're allowed to pour hot water onto instant coffee? Huh? Chai Adam says mutter. Chai Adam says to pour hot water on the sugar, it's mutter. Chai Adam is matter. The person speaking about it today, they say mixing it once it's inside is mutter. They don't say to pour hot water onto it.